Hello, I'm Mrs. J, and welcome to my math class. Today we're going to do exponential graphs, and we're going to start with this one. Alex wants you to do it plotting 5 points. Now we know, since 2 is greater than 1, that it's going to be increasing, and we know that it crosses at 1 on the y-axis, and this is our graph. So on an exam, you would do it that way. You also need to draw the asymptote. Since it's not moving up and down, the asymptote is right at 0. So to plot points, and they want 5 points, plot this point, which is 0, 1, because 2 to the 0 is 1, and then do -1, -2, 1, and 2. 2 to the -2 is 1 over 2 squared, making it positive, and then squaring it 1/4. 2 to the -1 is just 1/2. Move it to the denominator to make it positive. Plugging in 1, 2 to the first is 2, and then 2 squared is 4. And so those would be your points. And then you would just give them to Alex and they'll plot them. -2 up 1/4, -1 up 1/2, 0, 1 over 1 up 2, over 2 up 4, and then your graph. Some of them were asking for domain and range, but I don't think this one does. No. Okay, let's try another one. Again, it's not moving up and down, so the asymptote is at y equals 0. 4/3 is greater than 1, so it's increasing. It's going to look like this. Plotting the points, since we're not shifting right, left, or up or down, use -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. When you put in -2, the negative flips it and then square it, 9/16. When you put in the -1, the -1 flips it, so then it's 3/4 to the first, 4/3 to the 0, anything to the 0 is 1. 4/3 to the first is 4/3, and then 4/3 squared is 16/9. So then you just plug those points in, and this will be your graph. I want to see if they have one that's shorter or less than 1. Come on. Oh. Again, it's greater than 1, so it's crossing here at 1. Notice they're all the same graphs. They're just growing a little faster or a little slower. Because it's not moving up and down or right or left, to do that, if it was moving right or left, it'd be up here with the X. Out here, moves up and down. So our asymptote is still at y equals 0. Then you just plot at the points. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. 3 to the -2. The negative moves it to the denominator. 3 squared, 9. So it's 1/9. 3 to the -1. Negative moves it to the denominator. 1/3. Anything to the 0 is 1. 3 to the first, 3. 3 squared, 9. But on a test, this is the point I'm looking for, and then that it's increasing, and the asymptote. Okay, let's try some other ones. Graphing. I think that's the one we just did. Graphing domain and range. Oops. Oh, come on. Okay. These ones are shifting. Now notice the -3. That goes up and down. When it goes up and down, that is moving your asymptote. So the 2 means it's increasing. But that negative is flipping it, so it's down here. But when you plug in values, let's see, how many do we need? Graph the function and give its domain. Let's see how many they want. 2 points. So you're graphing it with 2 points. Yeah, so we only have to give 2 points. Okay. G. G of x equals a -2x minus 3. Now when you only have to plot 2 points, the first one you want to plot is what will make this a 0 in the numerator. Now since there's nothing added to the x, that would be 0. So we'll start with putting 0 in. -2 to the 0 minus 3. 2 to the 0 is 1, so that's a -1 minus 3, which is -4. So that's 1 point. And then plug in a 1. If we plug in 1, -2 to the first minus 3 is -5. So we have 0, -1, 2, 3, 4. And we have 1, -5. We also know we had an asymptote at 0. Since it's moving down 3, the asymptote is at y equals 3. So then our graph is going to look like this. The domain, this is going all the way, it's going to cover all of the x-axis. So the domain is all real numbers. X is a member of all real numbers. They want interval notation, so -infinity to infinity. The range, notice it's all the negative values because this is going down, but it stops at -3 at the asymptote. So it's going from -infinity to -3. And it's approaching it, but it's not touching it, so it's a parenthesis. Let's try another one. Okay. Y equals -3 to the x plus 3. So we'll plug in again 0, -3 to the 0 plus 3. This is going to make a -1, which gives us 2. Then we can plug in 1, -3 to the first is -3 plus 3 or 0. Just want to make sure I didn't make a mistake. Okay, so we got those 2 points. Now we know this graph is going this way because the negative flipped it down just like this one. But then it's moving up 3. So our asymptote, which was at 0, moves up 1, 2, 3. When you have this here, this is always going to be the asymptote for the horizontal, whatever's out here. This one was a -3. So we graph these 2 points 0, 2 here, and 1, 0 here. And you can see the graph's going to go. That's it. And let's try another one. The AE to the X. AE to the X, this one. That's a plus in there. Okay. How many points do they want us? Plot 2 points on the graph. Also draw the asymptote. Then click the graph a function button. Okay. So we have to plot 2 points. Now when you're doing this one, they want you to keep the E, not to use the calculator. If you have an E in it, you keep it. When you're deciding what point to use, the first one you want to choose is whatever's going to make this 0. So that would be a -4. That way then we lose the E. We have a number. So if we plug in -4, notice that will be 0, and e to the 0 is 1. So this is 3 plus 1 is 4. So we have 1 point, -4, 4. Then we want to use a point that will get that to be a positive 1. So we want a number in here so that when we combine this, we get a positive 1. And that would be a -3. So we're going to find the point -3. Because then we have y equals 3e plus 1. And that's how Alex wants you to type it in. E is 3 point something, so this is about 9, which is around 10. But the graph, our horizontal, is going to be at 1. So when we graph it, negative 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 is here. And this one, let's see what they put. So they had us find that. So here's the 3e plus 1. So then they graphed them, these two. And it's growing exponentially. It moved left 4. From here it moves left 1, 2, 3, 4, and up. The 3 is what moved it up more than a 1. So then your graph is here. Let me draw my asymptote first. It's at 1 because this moved up 1. And then it's going to go like this. Theirs is a little stronger than mine because I didn't plot that other point, but still the same graph, and it's going to go up. Do I need domain and range on these? Draw the asymptote. We do not need domain and range. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, so horizontal asymptote, negative 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's our horizontal asymptote. We need to plot 2 points. Well, what's going to make this a 0 up here? Negative 2 will. So we're going to plug in a negative 2. 2e to the negative 2 plus 2 minus 3. E to the 0 is 1, so it's 2 minus 3, which gives us a negative 1. Now we want another value that will make this a positive 1. Well, that would be negative 1. So we're going to plug in a negative 1. 2e negative 1 plus 2 minus 3 is 2e to the first minus 3. Plugging in the value, well, at least this one, negative 2. Negative 1 is here. And it's going to go like this. If we look at the graph here, we'll plot the 2 points for you. Here's the 2 points. I made mine a little wider, so having that second point helps. And there's your asymptote. Any questions? Oh, if you do have questions, text me and let me know and we can go over them.